Good afternoon. If anyone's already listening, thank you so much for joining us. This is our third weekly live stream from CASA of Oklahoma County, trying to keep up with everyone and make sure everyone's keeping up with us during this time when we're all safe in our homes. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the adjustments that CASA volunteers have been making. Because we can't stop our advocacy. We can't stop knowing what's going on with our kids, but we also have to make safety of the utmost importance. So here with me is Kimberly Van Beber, and she is our program director. And so she's the one handling all of those things. Okay, Kim. And so obviously there's national CASA recommendations, state CASA recommendations, and then our own temporary policies surrounding this. So I'll let Kim explain to you what that all looks like and how we're doing things differently.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. First, on behalf of the entire CASA organization, we want to give a huge shout out and thank you to our medical personnel. We have volunteers who are doctors and who are nurses or in the medical field in some other form, and then just to all doctors, nurses, medical personnel. Thank you so much for all the work you're doing. We are cheering you on, and you all are a huge part of the reason that 3 weeks ago we decided to go send our staff home to work remotely and to make the change for volunteers to no longer do face-to-face visits. It's our goal always to keep our volunteers safe, our kiddos and families that we work with safe, the community, and then also help flatten the curve for our medical professionals who are on the front lines during this time. So we've made those changes. We're all working remotely from home, and I've been so impressed with how everyone has adapted. The department, other service providers, agencies that we work with, our entire staff and our volunteers have been so solution-oriented and worked so hard to adapt to these major personal and professional and life changes to make sure that we are still doing everything that we can to continue to serve our kids and our families. I would have made the argument 3 weeks ago that our volunteers are a hugely important part of the child welfare system. And now 3 weeks later, with all of the changes, I think they are even more important. We're often that link to resources for families and kiddos. We are that hope for our kiddos and our families. And so I just want to thank everyone, our community partners that we work with, for helping us adapt and make the changes that we need to. So for right now, what our CASA volunteers are doing are video conferencing, FaceTime, Skype visits with their kiddos. And our national organization is recommending weekly check-ins with our families right now. We know there have been a lot of changes with businesses closing down, schools closing down. And so we know that that there's a lot of additional stressors and things on people's plates. And so we are wanting to weekly check in and just see how things are going, ask those questions of, are there new needs due to everything that's going on that your family or the kids are experiencing that we can help with, that we can be that resource link. So our volunteers are continuing their services, if even ramping up in a lot of ways, and just checking in and making sure that our kids and our families are well taken care of and getting everything that they need during this time.
Absolutely. Of course, there are a lot of things in an organization like ours that have to be put on hold. Our fundraisers, we've had to put those on hold because those can wait. But we're most certainly not going to make our children wait. And so our efforts have gone into ensuring that our most important thing, our mission, is continuing during this difficult time, because that's why we're here. And you know what? Today's the second day, actually, of Child Abuse Prevention Month. It's April, and so definitely not the time to ramp down our efforts in child advocacy. And so we actually have a resource page specifically for COVID-19, and you can go there and see what all our volunteers are doing. A lot of information on there for really anybody, but also things for people who have kids at home, and our volunteers who are trying to be a resource to foster parents and help them know what to do with these kids all day. And I know that I've heard several stories of our CASA volunteers being a bit of a lifeline for some foster parents who might be a little overwhelmed right now. Understandably, I certainly would be. And in fact, we actually have one of our CASA volunteers who's going to join us. It's important, that we share with you, with Kim, with the administrative end about the changes we're making, but we also want to hear about what are these calls like, and what is different from one of our advocates. So we have Gina Meadows here. Thank you, Gina. I still remember meeting with Gina at Starbucks when she was very first interested in becoming a CASA. And so I love that, and seeing now what awesome work you're doing. So Gina is a co-CASA, which we have a handful of co-CASA teams when a case has, usually the magic number is about 5 kids, when it still needs, when it needs maybe 2 CASAs to work it as a team. And so she has a case like that with her 6 kids. So if you wanted to kind of give us a quick, we talked earlier, and before we shut down in-person visits, you did an in-person visit, and then after that did a call visit. What would you say the differences between the two are?
Well, we normally do our in-home visits every month with our kids. There's 6 of them, so my co-CASA and I go and visit them. We usually spend about an hour. We sit down with the kids. We go over their day, any concerns they have. We discuss how school is going, how their transitions are going. We also have one-on-one time with the foster parents, discussing any of their concerns and issues that they have with the kids. How, the positives, the negatives, what we can do to work on things and make everybody fit together better and things to work better. So the big change here is that we don't have that in your living room type of effect that we normally have. However, sure, FaceTime has been a really good resource, especially, I would say especially for the kids. We don't spend as long. Usually you're talking about a 5 to 10 minute call because their attention spans are not great on the phone. I know my kids don't like to be on the phone, and they find it kind of fun because they're like, oh, hey. And so, they've got the phone and they think it's cool that I'm, on the screen. And so they're younger. And so they'll sit there and pass the phone back and forth. And I get to ask them about their day and how things are going, just our normal questions. So the interaction is different, but I think it's really important for them to see us because we've been involved in their lives, and they've got so much change and so many things that are going on with them, and so much change in schools, change in family, change in situations. And so we are the constant that's always been in their life. And with these kids, we've been on this case almost 2 years. And so for them to see us, and especially a time like this when there is so much going on and so many concerns, it's kind of fun for them to check in with us, even if it's not as personal and in depth. It's something for them to say, oh, hey, this is normal. This is what we're used to. And there she is. She's okay, and I'm okay, and she's making sure I'm okay.
Definitely. So with CASA, a huge part of our mission is providing that safe, stable, consistent person to walk alongside these kids in their foster care journey. And that is so important, like you said, at this time with all the uncertainty and all the changes in their lives, continuing to show up and being there for the foster parents and the biological parents during this time. And we've touched on multiple times how, a lot of us are working from home right now. The kids are home. We're going to be starting the distant learning at home with our kids and just trying to adapt to all of those changes. And so really using that time to help foster parents and biological parents out of saying, hey, let me hop on FaceTime and read a book to your kiddos so you can make dinner, or you can do the laundry, or you can just sit back and take the much deserved break that you need because it's a lot. And so those are other ways that you all can really step up to the plate and help during this time.
Definitely. And for a child to know, oh, she's thinking about me. Because you're thinking about somebody when you call them. And so, I would, people say it all the time that the CASAs are that whatever else is changing when they move homes, when there's turnover at DHS, when they have new therapists and new schools and new everything else. And that CASA, man, there can be a global pandemic, and guess who's calling? The CASA volunteer. So thank you so much, Gina, for being that person for your kids. 6 kids. That's a lot of people who are feeling loved and thought of and cared for. And so our recruitment specialist, Camila, and our training director, Nicole, even though they're on another call, are telling us hello. And thank you, Gina, for helping us out and joining us and sharing your perspective on all this. One thing, now, of course, we switched from in-person visits for the time being for safety reasons to those FaceTime calls. But like you mentioned, Gina, they are just going to be shorter. It's just natural for them to be shorter. Kim, do you want to talk about the reason why National CASA is recommending that we all do more frequent visits, weekly as opposed to monthly?
Sure. I think that's a huge part of it, is just those face-to-face contacts are usually a lot longer. We're walking through homes, we're sitting down and talking to kids, and we know that their attention span over the phone is just not very long for most of our kids. That might be a little bit different with some of our teens who love to be on the phone. So that's part of it. And just with all the changes going on right now, we just want to continually check in and see if there are any needs, and to continue to show up for our kids and let them know that we're here. Again, that resource page that Kathy mentioned earlier at okcountycasa.org/COVID-19, which is also on our webpage or our website, is a great resource to look at. It has recommendations on how to conduct these visits, how to keep your kids engaged, the kinds of questions to ask our parents and our kiddos during this time. There's a link to our state organization's resource page on there, which has a lot of great information. So I would just really highly encourage everyone to check out that resource page. It's a ton of information that's going to be helpful. We will continuously update it as this thing evolves and as changes are needed. That's a great resource.
Definitely. Thank you. As you can tell, we're all furiously working from home to make sure. And Gina, would you say? And I know that the interaction between CASA advocates and their advocacy supervisor, that relationship is very meaningful and it's very substantial. How has that changed at all, or is that still the same? Your interaction as your advocacy supervisors have been working from home and you all can't ever meet in person.
Right. I would say a lot of my interaction with my advocacy supervisor, unless I'm in court or I'm up at the building, is probably usually online or in text. But yeah, we have been in contact since all of this started, just kind of checking in and making sure that we're able to contact the kids and if there's any concerns going on, and just kind of touching base quite often just to make sure everything keeps moving forward.
Definitely. And a little shout out to your advocacy supervisor is Margaret Butler, who is fantastic. We love Margaret.
She's great.
Actually, every single one of these advocacy supervisors is pretty remarkable. But little shout out to Margaret since you're on here. I asked her if you'd be good, and she was like, yes.
Thank you.
Our case management team has been working so hard on just putting together resources, making sure that we're supporting our volunteers during this time. Like Kathy said, they are such an awesome team. I feel so thankful to get to work alongside them every single day. Not only are we encouraging our volunteers to check in on our kiddos and families and see if there are any needs, we're also checking in on all of our volunteers and our partners on, is there anything that they need during this time? I know some of our volunteers don't have the technology that is needed right now, so we're working on ways to solve that issue. And so I would just encourage any volunteers that are watching, if you have any needs or you need anything, reach out to your advocacy supervisor. We are absolutely here to guide and support and advocate for you all during this time.
Definitely. Well, Gina, since we have you on here, so one thing, I am still all up in the database and email and still loving to hear from people who are applying to be CASAs, who would like to be CASAs or who have questions about being CASAs. If there's somebody listening or somebody that eventually listens to this that is thinking about supporting CASA in some way, whether it's becoming a CASA themselves or donating to CASA, what would you say to them to encourage them to do so?
I would let them know that this has been a really rewarding program. It's unlike any other type of volunteer program I've ever been exposed to, whereas you're really in it. And I know that's kind of scary to some people, but to me, it's what really makes a difference. You really do get quite involved with these kids and these families and these situations. And so you're able to see the effect that you have, and you're able to help these kids in a truly meaningful way that you really couldn't do just behind the scenes, because you really, as a volunteer, you are in the living room for the most part. You are helpful in their lives. You're involved in their education, their medical care, their therapy sessions. You are right there with them, helping them through. And as a person, it's meaningful to know that you have helped someone to the degree that you're able to help someone in this program. And so I think that's extremely rewarding for anyone looking to do volunteer work or looking to care for children and try to make a difference somewhere in the system. I think this is a great place for that to happen.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Our organization is full of so many awesome people like Gina, and then a huge shout out to your co-CASA, Janie Deering, who's been with us, I think, 16 years. We couldn't do this work without you all. In my opinion, you are the cream of the crop of volunteers that are out there. And, you know, if not us, then who? These kiddos and these families need our help. They deserve our help. They want our help a lot of the time. And so I'm just so thankful for all of our volunteers who continue to step up to the plate and really make a difference in our community. And it's going to have an impact for generations to come.
Definitely. And no reason to slow down on applying to be a CASA volunteer. I'm still responding, looking for those and responding to people who apply each day. So you're wanted and you're needed. If you're not sure if it's right for you, that's my job, is to talk you through that, and we can find out. No pressure from me, just information. So I always love to make a friend regardless, right? So is there anything else, Kim, that you would want to share with anyone who is listening right now, who's wondering, you know, about how we're handling this? Anything we haven't covered?
Oh, I would just ask for full confidence that we are continuing to power through. Our volunteers are continuing all their efforts. It might be through different means, but we're still doing the work. As distant learning plans continue to roll out with different schools, our CASA volunteers will be in contact with teachers, with foster parents, with biological parents, the kids, to see how the school curriculum is going. If there are any needs there, we will continue to be in contact with our service providers, DHS, counselors, doctors, continue to stay in communication with them and share the information that we have that they may need. We'll continue to be that link to resources for our kiddos and their families. And right now, our court system is rescheduling all hearings through May 15th. They are still hearing the show cause dockets and emergency hearings. So we will be involved in those on cases in which we're appointed to. But we are right now working on getting all of those new dates out to our volunteers. So if you're a volunteer and you haven't yet received your new court date, please be patient. We're sending those out as quickly as we can, and we will continue to keep you guys updated on the dockets and any changes that are made there. I know our judges and the DHS liaisons and the bailiffs are all working around the clock to get new dates pumped out and to figure out how to do virtual court and all the challenges that may come with that. And again, everyone's just really come together and are trying their very best to continue their efforts to make all of this work. So we will continue to pump out information on any changes around the court or any other part of the child welfare system that we get.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that court hearings are being rescheduled through the next month and a half. I'm telling you, that makes it even more important that these judges get the information these CASAs are gathering through weekly FaceTime. that's a lot of information that these judges do not have otherwise. And what and DHS is gathering right now, even though they're heroic and amazing, they're limited now too. So it is important for all of us to ramp it up in the ways that we safely can. It's like we kind of we changed our course, but we're running the same race. We are eye on the prize, and that prize is advocacy. And so by being adaptable, that's how we thrive through this. And who knows, we might learn a few things to make ourselves even better when this is all over. So definitely a time for reflection.
Sorry. you know, even on when things are normal, communication is always key. There are a lot of people out there on cases that are doing amazing work, but we have to communicate with each other. And even now, it's even more important now. So I would say over communicate, continue to be in contact with those DHS workers, like Kathy said, who are also doing work and doing, you know, virtual calls and those kinds of things with their kids, and share that information that you're gathering. It's so important during this time.
Yeah, it's and I know, you know, Gina has a DHS worker that she and Janie work with, and you know, you hear the bad stuff on the news when there's a story about DHS. You're getting the very worst story, but there's a lot of good things that come out of DHS, and a lot of very good people working tirelessly for children, and we love partnering with DHS on these cases. I've seen some incredible partnerships, and you're nodding your head, Gina. I'm guessing you have a good experience.
We have had a great experience with DHS, and especially with all of these 6 children. There's been a lot that has gone on over the last 2 years, and the hours that our DHS workers put in to take care of these kids is just unbelievable. The general public, it just doesn't know how everything that is asked of a DHS worker who is taking care of children, all times of the day, all times of the night, traveling them back and forth so that they can see their parents, getting to the foster parents, getting to meetings, getting to school. All of those things fall on the shoulders of the DHS workers. And as CASAs, we try to help them out, but it is their responsibility. And so there's a lot on their shoulders, and they do a wonderful job.
Definitely. Yeah, and that teamwork and that partnership is more important now than it even was before, in making sure that all the bases are covered and that there's nothing missed out on. So for anyone who is interested in becoming a CASA or just wanting to know more, I could talk about CASA all day, clearly. So you can reach out, Camila Galliano or I. We'll get right back to you, and either one of us can answer any questions you have. If you wanted to, you can inquire through Facebook, leave a comment, and we'll get with you on this thread. Or you can go to our website and do an inquiry through the website. Or you're welcome to call my office phone, and I will get that message, and I will call you back. That's 405-594-3384. I would love to talk to anybody who just wants to learn more. If you are, you know what, our development manager, Charlie, today is his birthday, actually, and he is doing a fundraiser on Facebook for CASA right now. So if you want to go make a little donation to CASA, that would be awesome, because we had to postpone our fundraisers, and, you know, that is the real story of it. So, but anything that I've missed that you all can think of that we want to cover today or inform people about?
Well, piggybacking on Charlie's personal fundraiser today for CASA, we also have a link on our website where you can go and support us during this time financially. So please, if that's something that you're interested in, check out that on our website also.
Yeah. And you can do that in honor of somebody, in memory of somebody. You can make a donation to CASA in honor of anyone, including Charlie, whose birthday is today. So
Charlie,
I would love it. Or you can be like, gosh, that Gina Meadows lady, man, she really puts the work in. I want to make a donation in honor of her because she's so fabulous. Great. Agreed. She's fabulous. So Thank you all so much. This has been, I think, very informative. People, all different businesses and all different organizations are thinking, how is everyone making this work? And so I'm kind of excited about the way we're making it work. I think it's wonderful. And the response from our advocates to saying, hey, we're going to completely change everything. I know you're completely freaked out and your life is turned upside down, but we're going to, and they've all been like, yes, let's do it. And that just really goes to show what our CASA volunteers are like. Like Kim said, cream of the crop. We have the very best. So thank you both. And I'm really excited about this information that just went out. So everyone share this video so people can watch it. It's under 30 minutes, not so bad. So thank you again. Thank you so much, Gina. It was nice to video chat with you today. And thank you, Kim, who has so much knowledge in her brain. We should have you on all of these. So
thank you so much. And just hi to all of our CASA volunteers out there. I miss, and I know the rest of the staff, we miss seeing you guys face to face. We are looking forward to the day when we can all get together again and celebrate really everything that we've accomplished during this time and working to keep kids and families safe during a really difficult time. And, you know, social distancing is not an option. It's a must right now, and that's to save lives. And we aren't going to let that stop us from continuing to serve our kids and do everything in our power to help the child welfare system. So just thank you so much to everyone who partners with us in any way, and just to all of our volunteers for the amazing work you guys do. You are my heroes, and I'm honored to know you guys.
Agreed, heroes, and thank you. And everyone remember, it is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and our advocates do that every day because they are preventing these children from being victims of abuse and neglect again. And we see that in the data that comes out of children who have CASAs versus children who do not have CASAs. Where they're also seeing them break cycles, where these children's children are less likely to come into care and experience abuse or neglect. So can't speak highly enough for Gina and everybody and all her fellow CASA volunteers. Happy Thursday, everyone, and thank you so very much for tuning in.